Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to my Pillars of Eternity Let's Play.
No problem.
So, oops. What is going on? There we go. Okay. I was trying to use A and D to pan. I just want to see what's going on. Oh, we got the whole map unlocked already. So we've got area to the north, Ulfla's house, Ingrid's house, the windmill, Blackhammer Smithery, the road to the east, the road to the south, Temple of Aothas, Adair, Aloth, the Blackhound Inn, and the road to the west. Okay, let's go. Oh, okay. That's a lot of fucking dead people. Jesus. What is going on?
You must be one of the new settlers. Welcome to Gilded Vale. You'll be pleased to know that we've had some recent vacancies here.
He glances at the gnarled, leafless monstrosity of a tree next to him. Do you welcome everyone this way? The only answer you hear is the buzzing of the flies from the tree.
Of course, we'll need to make some inquiries first. The inestimable Lord Radric VII has taken great pains to insulate our town from Widewind's legacy. Have you ever sired a Hollowborn child?
What are you talking about?
An infant born without a soul, of course. Lord Radric has made it his first priority to eliminate this scourge from our village. I should warn you, stranger. Here in Gilded Vale, we have a special place for dissidents, charlatans, and those who would hide a curse in our midst.
He steps to the side and inclines his head ever so slightly towards the deformed tree.
His lordship's wife is with child and due any day now. Without his approval, I shan't be able to find you a permanent settlement. It will have to wait until after the birth. We can continue our interview then, after the bell tolls from Radric's hold to signal my lord's new heir. In the meantime, you can find temporary accommodations at the inn just southwest of here.
I've been feeling strange ever since a close call with the Beowulf. Is there someone in town who could help?
Whatever your problem, it sounds like a matter for an animancer. However, the only animancer in Gilded Vale isn't in any condition to speak. Consider yourself fortunate. After she failed Lord Radric, we saw to it that she wouldn't profit from the misplaced trust of others. A bad cure is often worse than none at all.
Okay, so he fucked up something with the Lord. Or she? She, yeah.
But if you're set on finding a bottle of troll piss or a dead Audra pebble to rub on your forehead, you're welcome to check her pockets. A little corpse stink is nothing when you're digging for shit. My advice, however, is to be satisfied that you escaped and leave it at that.
I don't really like this guy. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. It's important that everyone in Gilded Vale understands our rules. You said something about Hollowborn and Widewind's legacy before? He blinks. I forget that you foreigners do not have this curse in your homelands. The Hollowborn have been a scourge upon the Deerwood for almost 15 years now. He lowers his voice to a whisper. Children born without souls. He shakes his head. Pitiful, dumb things that breathe, barely, but do not truly live. Some say the Hollowborn are a disease, some say they are a punishment from the gods. He raises his empty hands. In truth, no one knows, but they began spreading after the Saints' War, and so the name Widewind's legacy stuck in honor of that foul, blasphemous pretender. His voice shakes with vitriol. I see. Lord Radric's decrees may seem strict at times, but he has our best interests at heart, he nods. Before I got here, I saw several people conducting a strange ceremony near some ruins. He regards you carefully. You'll want to mind where you mention that. Trespassing on Angwithan ruins is illegal, not to mention dangerous. You probably saw someone attempting some new ritual to appease the gods. People will try anything these days. Bareth have mercy. We certainly have. I don't think so. Just as they finished, there was a Beowulf. He polishes his spectacles on his sleeves. If you'd been that close to a Beowulf, you wouldn't be standing here. Okay, then. Goodbye.
Keep out of...
One bell. Is that good?
Listen!
2 tolls. Let that be the last.
3. Gods have mercy.
What does 3 mean?
It seems your arrival is ill-timed. 3 bells toll only for the death of a Radric. I fear Lord Radric's heir is lost, or else Hollowborn, and so lost all the same. You should tread carefully. Circumstances have changed a great deal.
What do you mean? No. You come to us at a time of mourning. The legacy has struck at the heart of Gilded Vale. Our efforts to redeem ourselves in the eyes of Bareth must be redoubled. He sets a steady gaze on you. Don't threaten me, little man. He shakes his head unmoved. It is no threat, only a warning. Lord Raedric will tolerate no threats to his kin or those who live upon his lands. Grief will not make him more docile. What happened? Excuse me. Had a yawn. He shrugs one bony shoulder. I will know more details when the messengers arrive. The vagaries of childbirth, perhaps? That is not your concern. Does this affect the Lord's offer to new settlers? I can be sure of nothing right now. I advise you to get some rest to the inn or a stable for all I care. Find me afterwards. I will know more soon enough. Farewell. Okay. Oh, I gained some experience points. Nice. Before I talk to Adair, I want to talk to the tree. The scattered between the roots are bracelets of twine and bead. Wait, no. Wilting flowers and notes half erased by rains. I thought I could loot her body. I could loot that. Yeet. Okay, let's talk to Adair.
Are you looking for someone in that tree? I could introduce you.
Oh, is this Matt Mercer? Looking for anyone who can help me feel better. He gives an understanding nod as he takes a long drag from his pipe. My condolences. He exhales and turns his attention away, watching the village around him. What? Welcome to our lovely village. I thought he was a companion. Did I fuck that up? Hello? I think I may have fucked that up. Huh. Okay, well, let's go to the inn. Villagers. Okay, just normal villagers. Ooh. You see 4 people gathered by the door to the inn. Their raised voices and chopping gestures suggest an argument reaching its climax. The first figure raises his hand for calm. His face is partially obscured by a hood, but his height and stature suggests an elf.
I meant no offense. Let's put this matter to rest over a round, shall we? My treat.
Hoping to soothe our pride with a few Adira coppers, eh? We don't need your coin.
What's going on? One of the other men points to the hooded elf. His eyes are red from drink, but his gaze is focused. Mocking us even while he shelters in our village just goes to show you what these fancy Adir manners are worth. We don't take to that kind of treatment, not from foreigners, especially not from Adirans. The woman looks you up and down, and that means you too. Don't push us.
Go on. Say it again. I'm itching for an excuse.
Fie, you're itching for the kindling touch of your sister, you cocksfeather!
This also sounds like Matt Mercer.
I'll cut that barrel-licking tongue out of your head.
This is a misunderstanding. I didn't say whatever it is you think I said. We've nigh quarrel.
That's where you're wrong.
This is unnecessary. Wouldn't you rather be inside drinking than out here arguing? You don't take orders from any blazing Adarans. We don't take charity, neither. It sounds suspiciously like you're defending him. Well, okay, you bitches. Well, time to shoot one of you. Did I just fucking one-shot him? Get fucked. As the last of the attackers falls, the elf turns to you, the tension almost gone from his smooth face.
Not quite how I hoped to get to know the neighbors. Thank you for your timely assistance with that awkward situation.
I'm glad I could help. Gives you a quick smile. Courtesy is a rare pleasure in these parts, as is the company of a fellow countryman. He straightens his hood, and you note the remains of the fraying embroidery on his gloves. His boots are caked with the dirt of many months' travel, but the leatherwork beneath is sturdy and fine.
Well, I suppose introductions are in order after that little fiasco. Aloth Corvisor, at your service.
How'd you manage to get stuck out here? That is something of a long story.
Well, I'm a wizard by training, and an adventurer by necessity. I was born in the Seathwood, part of the mainland of the Adir Empire, and both of my parents served the nobility, which afforded me an education for which I'm grateful. However, there were no open positions in those houses, and so I decided to seek new means in a new land.
Makes sense.
And how exactly did you come to be here?
I was traveling with a caravan, but we were separated near some ruins.
In Gwithan Ruins? Oh, those can be
Oh, I can make
dangerous
these
places
bigger.
during the best of times, which these are not. And half the locals would arrest you for trespassing, and the rest would kill you outright. I'm curious, what exactly did you find there?
Several hooded figures opening a strange machine. Aloth goggles at you silently, apparently assessing your earnestness. Finally, he gives you a clipped, awkward laugh.
You do manage to find yourself in rather interesting predicaments.
What are you doing in Gilded Vale?
An excellent question. I came looking for fresh air and cheap land. Instead, the magistrate gave me directions to the inn and a story about the local lord's expectant wife. But I take it that's a familiar tale.
It is indeed. Like you said, I'm also a settler.
Indeed. In that case, welcome to Gilded Vale, a true refuge from civilization.
Just how'd you manage to cross those 3 drunks?
I'm afraid that was a matter of misunderstandings and mistranslations. It doesn't help that people in these parts remember their war with Adir like it was yesterday.
You did tell that one man to go fuck his sister. Ah, that. He clears his throat and adjusts his sleeves. As I tried to tell them, they misheard me. Happens all too easily after a few pints, and the accent doesn't help. I heard the same thing. For just a moment, he looks as if he's about to say something else. His expression brightens with mischief, but before he can speak, he forces a tight smile, biting his lips so hard you expect to see blood. Finally, his face relaxes, and he shakes his head. I should speak more clearly next time. My apologies. You don't exactly look like a settler.
Begging your pardon, but neither do you. Yet, circumstances can find a person in the strangest of places.
I should get going.
As should I, given recent events. It's just as well. I've had enough of the watered wine and lumpy beds at the inn. They say even the owner tired of the place. Just up and left one day. It explains quite a lot about the upkeep. Perhaps I could join you. I could use a change of scenery, and I find it's better to travel in numbers.
So do I. Let's go then.
Excellent. I shall follow you.
Dope. We now have Aloth. Let's loot. Yeet. Alright. Now, what does
How may I
Aloth
help?
have? So he is a 2nd level wizard, a wood elf, nobility from Adir, might of 12. Not bad. I mean, he gets an extra 6% damage from there. He doesn't have a negative constitution, which is good. A little higher action speed, but he'll be good with AoEs. And has good concentration. Okay. So he's lore of 7, so he can use up to level 3 scrolls. He also has mechanics of 1. Oh, his leather armor gives him plus 10% ability area of effect. So that means he's actually at 46% area of effect, because I think these are additive, not multiplicative. Let's see. So what does Arcane Assault do? Whoa. No. Distant advantage. Plus 5 accuracy, deflection, reflex against its enemies. Against enemies 104 meters away, you get most accuracy deflection. Okay, that's good. Second win, that just heals. Okay. Arcane Assault. This is a 2-per encounter, unleashes a bolt of magical energy from the Grimoire, so that's his spellbook, I believe, that inflicts raw damage and dazes the targets in the area. So what is raw damage is... raw? I think raw ignores damage reduction, right? Raw damage is the only type that ignores all damage reductions and is generally associated with poisons and similar effects. Okay, cool. So he's always going to be doing 11 to 17 damage with this, which is nice. Okay. Archimir's Dazzling Lights. So this is a spell that provides minus 10 will for 15 seconds, and it dazes the enemies, which reduces their accuracy by 10, dexterity, perception, intellect all reduced by 2, and attack speed reduced by 15. Okay, so that's just a big debuff. 1.7 meter radius. Fan of Flames, I'm assuming this is like Flaming Hands. So 32 to 45 burn damage. Accuracy plus 10 versus reflex, and it's cone of fire. This is going to be kind of close for that, unfortunately. Calicoth's Sunless Grasp. So this is freeze damage. Is a target's hand becomes so cold to freeze as to freeze with a touch. Does freeze damage to a target and reduces accuracy. So I think this is a touch spell. Okay. So they also reduces the accuracy there. Minolettas, minor missiles. I'm assuming this is just magic missiles. Summons 3 spell missiles that batter the target, inflicting crush or corrode damage. Okay. How does it determine which one it is? That's a 15-meter range. That's a pretty good range. Wizard's Double, looks like mirror image. Creates a duplicate of the caster to distract enemies and grants the caster a higher deflection bonus until he or she is hit or crit. So 40 plus 40 deflection until you hit. Okay, so that's pretty good. Then he has a blast talent. What does this do? Oh god. Opened it multiple times. Blast. It's an AoE of a 1.7 meter radius. Generates a blast on the target when using a wand, rod, or scepter, doing a modest random damage to all enemies in the area. Okay. It's not bad. What does he have in his inventory? So he's wearing the leather armor. He's got a hood, which does nothing. He has Grimoire. Does he have any extra? So these are his known spells. Oh, okay. So I think I want to swap out the Freezy one for Wizard's Double. Okay. And then he's got a rod. Okay. Perfect.
I shall.
Oh, wait. Okay. Maybe now we can go talk to Adair. Or is that his name? Adair, yeah. Hello, friend. I would like you to join the party. Okay, never mind.
Huh?
To the
problem.
inn. Quick save before going in. Villagers. Oh, Posca. I'm supposed to tell her about
Good
the
day to
dwarf I
you.
rescued, right? Oh, it's you. Tenfrith told us what you did for him. It's such a relief to have him back. I can't thank you enough. Consider yourself a favorite of the house. Discounts on drinks, rooms. Tenfrith said he wanted to whip up something nice for you. He's already back to work in the kitchen. So what would you like? I would like a room, please. Certainly. You're always welcome. Party gained 1,000 experience. Dope. I'm gonna play for nothing. Why is this being so slow? Hello? 2 resolve. Actually, getting the mechanics could be good in case there's anything to lockpick in here. I don't know why it wasn't letting me use the cheap room, the free room. No. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of the Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Excuse me. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face is shriveled inward like a moldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly, her head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty behind them. And they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air, she speaks a word. Watcher. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Though it fills you with a new and queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. Dope. Level up. Okay. So... honestly, so athletics is not... Oh, maybe I should grab a little bit of athletics? Just so I can get second wind? Because that could be helpful there. And then I'll just put my mechanics up to 6. So now I can get difficulty level 7 traps. Okay. Rogue abilities. So I've got Crippling Strike. This is twice per encounter. This is the hobbled one. Okay, but hobbling things does let me get sneak attack on them. So that's good. Reckless Assault is... the user gains -8 deflection, but +8 melee attack accuracy. And 20% melee damage. I don't know if I like that. Escape allows me to break engagement and expertly avoid the next attack. So it's 1 per encounter. It gives me 25 deflection, 25 reflex for 12 seconds. And Dirty Fighting. 10% of hits are converted into crits. Honestly, that sounds like the best one. Like, I'm between Dirty Fighting and Crippling Strike. Crippling Strike would let me get more sneak attacks off in a combat. But Dirty Fighting is just going to increase my damage. So I'm just going to go with Dirty Fighting. That seems like the best to me. Okay, now Aloth. Whoa. I'm going to give him 2 points there. And then... There we go. I'll just give him 1 point there. And then I'll throw another point into mechanics. Alright, so now his lore is a little higher. He can use level 4 scrolls. Dope. Oh god. So he gets his first level 2 spell here. So he gets 2 level 2 spells. So Bewildering Spectacle, Perplexing Visual Distraction. So this can confuse enemies. I'm assuming Binding Web gets people stuck. Or against the elements is 15 damage reduction. Combusting Wounds is 5 burn damage over time. Corrosive Siphon drains 56 corrode damages endurance over 13 seconds. Curse of Blackened Sight is a blind. Fetid Caress is paralyzed and against the target and then sickens everyone else. Use of Vital Essence. Caster gains 50 max endurance and 50 max health. That's actually not bad. Merciless Gaze is 15% of hits are converted to crits for a minute, basically. Handsome of Dull-Mindedness just reduces perception and intellect and resolve. Mirrored Image is 25. I already have like the little version of Mirror Image. Necrotic Lance is 37 to 48 corrode damage over 6.5 seconds, range of 8 minutes or 8 meters. We have Fire's range of 5 meters, and it's between the caster and the target. So this is like you pick someone in the back and then hit a bunch of people in the way. And Rolling Flame. Oh, Rolling Flame seems a little dangerous. So I think I'm gonna go with Necrotic Lance for sure. It's like seems like a good damage dealing spell. And then I think Binding Web could be good. I can lock down people in the front. So go with that. Easy peasy. Okay. Wait. Let's see. Is this stealing? Nope. Let's go talk to Tenfrith. Hello, Tenfrith. Ah, it's you, my savior. He makes a sweeping gesture to indicate the kitchen around you. It's so good to be back. Do not think that I will let this go unrewarded. I've decided that you have earned the right to learn one of my most closely guarded secrets, my dearest recipe. After this, you will eat nothing else. Savory pie. Savory pie to keep you hale and hearty. May it serve you well in your travels. Thanks, brother. There's this spoon thing with a fire coated in a brown skunk. That's stealing. Okay.
Aye?
Let's try stealing for the first time.
My eyes are peeled.
Oh wait, I want to wait till the yellow goes completely away, right? Nobody knows a thing. Oh, what's this? Floorboards are sticky with spills that no one has bothered to clean. Okay, cool. A bunch of... What are these little yellow things over here? Ooh, a scroll of Fan of Flames. That's dope. What are you? As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this woman's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. Reach out for the soul. Holy shit. You see a woman emptying her satchel onto her bed, taking stock of her inventory. Potions, bandages, tinctures, and herbs are scattered throughout her room haphazardly. She bites her lip, head tilted to the side, considering. She begins to repack, one item after the other. Careful deliberation undercut by shaking hands. Each item has a clearly marked place, but no matter how she repacks it, she isn't satisfied. The shaking worsens as she empties it out once more, one hand held to her mouth. Tears eke from her eyes as she gives up all semblance of order and shoves everything she can into the satchel, grabbing it and running out of the bare house. Straightening her back, she walks to the docks, chin high, eyes hard and red. The gangly young elf offers his condolences, but she can't see him over the ocean ahead of her. She wanders the docks, offering her services as a doctor to anyone who will listen, anyone heading out on high tide. Less than an hour later, she watches her child disappear in the distance, a tiny speck of an island, and tries not to jump. Ooh. That is interesting. Is it the same thing? Okay. What's this guy? Storm Brightblade. As you near, okay, same vibrant history thing. Reach out to the soul. You see a group of young men standing around a makeshift practice target. This man stands in the middle of them, explaining the construction and use of a bow. He holds it up, pointing out each part as he speaks about it and what it does. He then walks away from the target, telling them to remain where they are, and takes his place about 200 feet away. He carefully lines up a shot, explaining what he is doing as he does, and lets the arrow fly. It hits the target dead center, much to the surprise and delight of the boys near it. He smiles, walking toward the boys, talking about proper stance and how to most effectively hold a bow. A noise comes from the tree line near their practice venue, and he stops, scanning the woods, blue eyes squinting against the sun. A shadow moves, making its way through the forest behind them. He draws an arrow and lines up the shot, carefully tracking the motion of the hidden creature. Loosening the arrow, he wastes no time and quickly grabs another. The boys spin, watching the arrow fly into the forest, immediately lost among the trees. There is sudden, explosive movement in the undergrowth as a deer erupts from the tree line, running across the edge of the clearing. The boys laugh, turning to joke with the man about his lousy shot. They stop talking, see him holding the bow and leading the deer with a knocked arrow. They drop to the ground as he looses his last arrow, which flies true and strikes the deer right behind its shoulder, piercing heart and lungs and dropping it dead almost immediately. The boys stare at the deer for a few seconds and slowly turn to look at the man, who found respect in their eyes. He smiles again and breathes a quiet sigh of relief. It's interesting. I wonder what these have to do with anything. Carousers. Roaches scatter and flee under the crates. That's appetizing. Oh, there's a lot more of them up here. You are an in-guest. This is not stealing.
Yeah? Quickly and quietly.
Maximum stealth, even though it's not going to work.
Why not? There, done.
Oh, it's got some good shit in it, though. Maybe she'll go to bed.
This won't stop me for long.
Done. Ooh, a rapier. What's this? Crammed behind the books is a drawing that shows Aothas and Lord Raedric in compromising position. That's good. They're political cartoons. These bones are covered in tiny bark mites. Bite marks. The sound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. It looks up when you approach and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly. Pet the dog. The dog's tail thumps happily against the floorboards. Hey, is there something over here?
Time to see and not be seen.
Fuck, I wanna get that shit. Let's talk to these people. You see a long empty road cutting through two large crop fields. The air is silent and the land seems too still for an early afternoon. This woman walks slowly on the road leading a horse, curiously looking around. She seems to sense something's wrong, but is unable to discern what it is. She stops sniffing at the air, her nose high. Her brow crinkles as she casts about, looking for something. The air is clear, no clouds. She sniffs again, still looking around, confusion clouding her face, mouthing a single word. Fire? She looks out across the fields, her confusion turning to fear. She holds her hand up to block the sun from her eyes and scans the fields again. Not finding what she was looking for, she jumps onto her horse's back, the fear quickly becoming panic. She kicks, sending the horse shooting down the path, which bends around some trees to where the farmhouse should be. She pulls up short, horror now in residence on her face as she stares at the burned and charred mess that used to be her family's home. Tears well in her eyes as she kicks again, racing to the rubble. Ooh, that's a bit sad. Shane Mulrian. Oh, this is a short one. You see an emaciated boy in chains, black holes for eyes, staring sightlessly at a wall. A man in a dark coat walks in, a scroll and an oddly shaped quill in his hand. The boy glances at him expressionless, a corpse, waiting for animation. The man clucks at him, disapproval clear in his tone. The boy stands, limbs hanging. The man takes the quill and begins to write on the boy's chest, copying sharp, angular symbols from the scroll. The child doesn't flinch as the quill digs into his skin, drawing blood as it goes. The wizard finishes with a flourish and barks some arcane command, setting the symbols to glow dully. The boy cries out, knees hitting the stone hard, his chest burning black and red. Finally, the glow disappears, leaving only hard black scars etched into his skin. He slumps sideways, twitching, eyes facing the back of his skull. The wizard grunts, kicking him on the leg of his way on his way out. The boy lies on the floor until dawn, eyes still black like holes, the twitches growing into convulsive shakes. That one's a little disturbing. Who's this guy? Deslock Najidip? You see a man soar through the air, hitting a nearby wall with a nauseating crunch. He doesn't get up. His attacker, a burly, clean-cut warrior with a carnivorous grin, turns and shoves his fist into the stomach of another assailant, removing another from the impromptu brawl. The bar is a whirlwind of elbows, knees, fists, and feet, with no end in sight, and he is in his element. In the corner, 3 smaller men speak quietly, throwing malicious glances at the larger man in the center. He breaks a chair over a tattooed head, cackling. The trio position themselves in 3 parts of the room. With a terse nod, they charge. Unfortunately for them, the man sees them coming. Something in his eyes burns brightly, and all 3 slump to the ground in agony that's all in their minds. The burly man bows to a room of the unconscious and incapacitated before sauntering out, off-key whistle trailing behind him. It's like little interesting backstory nuggets, but I think they actually have anything to do with the game. Can you leave? I want to loot your shit. What if I attacked her and made her blind? That could, in theory, work. Okay, let's go to the tree. The door's over here. The game has been localized in several languages. That's pretty good. I only speak 1 language, though, so not that huge deal. Okay, to the tree. I found the dwarf. Caldera de Baranazzi. The squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked branch that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh on her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. It's appetizing. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. Well, I'm gonna do that then. Oh Lord. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expended enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing, electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she's staring at you, with eyes clouded in a milky fog. Her body still swaying in a wind. You no longer feel... You no longer feel from a tree? Her body still swaying in a wind, you no longer... swaying in a wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty wood. Okay, got it. The woman gives you a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? It is both, I think. Yes?
Am I imagining this?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy, even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I. Wherever here may be.
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
I need to understand something that's happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face, as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
And what exactly is a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair. And here we are, visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either living or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how.
Interesting.
A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
What did you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
Like speaking to dead people. She smiles at you reassuringly, fanning out a tuft of long whiskers that spouts from one of her cheeks.
You should see old Merwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
Okay. I think I survived a Biowalk. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing.
Yeah, I guess it can.
Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me now.
You said souls break apart over time?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No.
Okay.
A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
She clicks her tongue. I want to know something about you.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
Who are you?
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
What happened to you? She laughs, a rasping, choked cackle escaping between rows of buttery yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer.
Fair enough.
Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear, Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
What's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been made. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us? The best? Inspirations. Miracle workers. My parents were soul twins. Miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other. Turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
Ah, so she likes to do unethical experiments.
Of course, dear.
Farewell.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Caldara closes her eyes and her head slumps forward over the noose, and your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. Adarion was granted Crucible of the Soul. Okay. Aloth looks around you through narrowed eyes. Are you alright? You seemed lost just now. Yes, I'm fine. He folds his arms. That's good to know, but I don't suppose you could tell me what that was all about. What if I don't want to tell him I'm a watcher? I'm a watcher. His arched eyebrows proceeded into his hood. Well, that is interesting. He gives you a sly grin, and I expect this has something to do with the hooded figures in the ruins, In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, I feel it's probably wise for us to share these things. Do you know anything about watchers? Only that they're rare, and they seem to have unique insights into certain soul conditions. He coughs, as you just demonstrated. Let's continue on. How much experience I get then? Oh, we're making our way. Now, what did I just got something. I just got Crucible of the Soul. I can use this once per rest. I unravel the vital essence of his or her enemies, gaining endurance in the process. So I drain burn damage as endurance. Oh.
17 and a half.
Here we go. The smell of pipe smoke, at once earthy and sweet, winds its way into your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origin, where you find a broad man with straw-colored hair leaning against a mossy rock wall. His pipe held to his lips with one meaty hand. He looks you directly in the eye, but the look is not aggressive. He regards you with a peculiar smirk.
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
What was that about a dwarf?
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
What makes you think I was interested in the dwarf woman? He looks at you a moment, his brow arched, his smirk broadens.
I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Do you know what a watcher is?
Careful, friend. Best not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be.
Good thing I didn't pick a cipher at the beginning.
Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
You think you're gonna be hanged?
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
The war? No. Saints War. Only one in my lifetime. Fella decides he's the living incarnation of Aethys, overthrows Radceris, marches on Deerwood, and so we give him a Deerwoodian hello. What's a Deerwooden hello?
We blew him up.
He smiles at this with the smile of one recounting a joke for effect rather than enjoyment. Who's Aethys? God of rebirth and redemption, formally, anyhow. Maybe they call him something different where you're from. I had other questions. Why was your headman hanged? Got involved. Raedric sent me down here the other day. Said they had it on good authority someone in the town was working with Kolsk, plotting Raedric's overthrow. Said if he didn't come forward right then and there, they'd hang every last one of us. No one was coming forward, so Swithin, that's my headman, he steps up and says it's him. I took him at his word. He sighs and shakes his head, his eyes fixed on the tree. Bound to happen sooner or later, if not for plotting against Raedric, then for protecting me. What does your town have against you?
Pick the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea. Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, then I did too. But, he didn't make it back. After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Raedric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
You can see why I was eager to leave. Who's Kolsk? Someone who got tired of all the hangings. He's on the run now. Probably will be till they catch him. If you're next to be hanged, what are you still doing here? Drinking, mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out. Just haven't figured out where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out here that don't think Waidwin's legacy started with Waidwin. You could travel together. Where are you headed? Some place called Caed Nua. How did you pronounce that? Caed Nua? Caed Nua? I think it's Caed. Caed Nua. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger, and a strange one at that. But, truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
Yeah, well. There's a fine reason if I ever heard one.
All right, then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
Let's get going. Holy shit, he's got 91 endurance. What the fuck? Okay, I think we're going to call the episode here. At the start of next episode, we'll take a look at Adair and then see what the rest of this town has to offer. So thanks for checking it out. Hope you guys enjoy the series so far. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you are. And I'll see you guys at the start of next episode.